The workday is coming to an end.
It is 5 o'clock. I will see you all tomorrow.
But Gwynn and Chris are just getting started.
Sports talk it is.
Your hosts, Tony Gwynn Jr.
Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
and Chris Ello.
You can't kick a porpoise when it's down.
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
And welcome into Gwynn and Chris here on Thursday, December 5th, 2024. I'm Matt Skraby. I got Sam Levitt, the man, the myth, the legend with me today. As you heard yesterday, Chris Ello's voice was gone. And I have an update on him I'll get to in just 1 second. But Sam, thank you so much for being in here today. Appreciate it.
Hello, Matt Skraby.
Oh, are you the most interesting man in the world, sitting in your corner with your drinking or your smoking jacket on?
Well, I am. I'm very relaxed today.
Oh.
It's December 5th.
Yes.
A Thursday.
Yes.
End
it
of the
is.
year is near.
Yes.
Holiday season is near.
Yes.
Not a ton to discuss. Padres wise.
Yes.
So why don't we just sort of chill?
Okay. What does that mean? Do you just want to
Just have a nice,
just listen to Christmas music and comment on it?
relaxing, easygoing, entertaining program
Oh, well, that's happening.
for America's finest city on a Thursday.
I think that's happening, Sam. This is his promise, and we're going to deliver to you. By the way, I should say, Tony's also out for the next 2 days. He is doing some family things.
We do have a great Thursday night football game
Heck yeah, we
tonight
do.
lined up, so
Lions
plenty
and
of reason to
Packers.
stay tuned in past 4:30 p.m. or so.
We're going to talk about that, Sam. I want to talk about something real quick that I just heard before we started the show. I guess Craig Elston was posturing me in a fight against Braden Soprenet and asked who would win in a fight between us two. So I'm going to ask you real quick first. Who do you think would win in a fight between us two?
Well, you have, and this is not a knock on you. You look great.
Thank you.
You've lost a lot of weight here
Don't
in
worry about it.
2024.
Yes, I broke the chair yesterday. I know.
You have the weight advantage
I do.
on Braden.
I do.
Although Braden would strike me as maybe a little bit scrappier, quicker.
I agree with that.
I'll take Braden.
You'll take Braden.
You're too nice.
The thing about me, though,
You're a lover, not
but
a
the
fighter.
thing about me is once you cross me, you are my worst enemy, and I will destroy you.
I think you have, in the last decade or so, really turned a page.
I definitely have.
And you are a lover, not a fighter. You have a soft soul. You have a good heart. And I don't see you going to the lengths it would take to
I mean, are we
harm
fighting to
Braden
the death?
Soprenet.
Is that what we're doing?
No, but
here?
you're saying a fight.
Yeah, I guess the fight. Whoever
Somebody's gotta
wins
win.
is. I guess it would be like a
Maybe like a
TKO.
boxing
Yeah, like a
match.
10, like
UFC.
a 10-second count or something like that. What is it? What is UFC? They have 10, right?
I don't know.
I think they have 10. It's not 3. That's WWE. 1, 2, 3. Were you a WWE guy growing up?
No.
Oh, come on.
Now, what was the consensus of the midday program?
I believe it was split. I think Craig said he would take me, but the only downfall of me is my nice nature. I guess that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because I want people to be afraid of me in a fight.
So Craig and I are pretty much on the same page. I would take Braden. I think you have evolved into a very, very nice individual. Warm. Kind of fuzzy. Like warm and fuzzy.
I am warm and fuzzy.
Kind of like a teddy bear.
But you've seen me the people have seen me angry before when I was caught on a hot mic at Spiro's in Coronado, and I was screaming about the equipment not working. That was something that people got to witness during a commercial break.
Now, I'm going to take an off-air conversation, and I'm going to bring it
Go
on
for
air,
it.
and it's about myself.
Okay.
Now, I believe truly that a lot of people, whether they see me around town or at the ballpark, certainly, a lot of people, I think I give off the the vibe of a nice, outgoing, talkative,
respectful,
guy.
smart,
Yes, friendly. And it's true. I always want to talk to everybody, especially when I'm in a work setting.
Oh yeah,
always.
You're like the buzzing bee that goes around the party talking to everybody.
I want to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
But
I'm the guy who sits in the corner and doesn't want to look at anybody.
It's occurred to me that maybe sometimes when I'm in the studio and I'm kind of like getting ready to do a show, locked in, walking in, maybe there's something bothering me at some level, that I can give off some negative, don't talk to me, sort of annoyed, upset to be here energy.
I can confirm this. I can definitely confirm this. Outside of work, Sam is everything that he said earlier. Friendly, he likes to talk to everybody, he's outgoing. But sometimes when he gets into work, and sometimes before a game or before we do a show, there is an edge to him. And it's more of like, I got to get down to business. Everybody else get out of my way, because right now I'm setting up for this show.
Well, I'll admit this, too, that, and it just happened when we did the switch here between Annie and Elston and now Sammy and Skraby on this Thursday. Yeah, that 4 or 5 minute period where I walk in, you've got to get the stream set up, you've got to get your laptop set up. I'm not always for the pleasantries. Like, I'm like, okay, thanks, cool. Okay, your stuff's gone. Time to get my stuff set up. Because by the time that intro hits, especially for pregame, I want to be set up and ready to go. And
Which is fair.
It is fair. But I do realize where maybe especially in the studio, I walk around with maybe a little bit of an attitude.
Yeah, you do. You do. Sometimes you do. But now that we're breaking this down like we are, I can also point out to the fact that whenever you come in to set up, you have the show before you leaving, which means that we love to talk because we're done with our day and we can just talk, catch up.
Well,
and people want to catch up with you, but you're like, I got 5 minutes to get everything set up.
I'll also say that pregame wise, it's a very unique show in the sense of there's a lot that happens in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I've got to start the show. I've got to do a read. We've got to do the rewind. We've got to get Jesse and Tony, and we've got to do some other stuff. It's very fast moving and very like information intensive, where I got to have the right stuff up.
Yep.
I've got to be ready to go. So yes.
Yep. You said this, but you interview Tony or Jesse, which is also a whole different thing.
I don't need the chit chat always during the change.
I understand that, but I'm sorry. We like you. We're going to talk to you. So, and most of the time, it's us. It's our show that you're dealing with getting in here.
Anyway, that's going to be a goal. We'll talk about New Year's resolutions.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit later, because this will probably be the final time we'll be on the air together.
Possibly.
In this setting, at least.
Possibly.
This year. Maybe that'll be one of my New Year's resolutions.
What are you going to change?
To in a work sense, and not at the ballpark, because at the ballpark, I'm like Mr.
Well, that's where you shine.
Mr. Come, yes,
that's where you shine.
I'm Mr. Come up and talk to me.
Yeah,
I'm full of energy. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
But in the studio, in this more normal work setting, maybe I've got to up my game a little bit.
I don't have any problem with you
being a little bit more smiley.
I don't have any problem with you being mission oriented. It's maybe the sometimes the frustration with me using one of your topics right before you do Inside San Diego with baseball with Sam Levitt. There's a little bit of frustration there. Yesterday you stood outside the window and you did this motion, which is yap, 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 yap. No one understands what I have to deal with when Sam Levitt is around. No one.
Well, the nature of our job is that there's just a lot of yapping.
Definitely.
We're yapping.
And I appreciate Sam Levitt, so I will never, unless you come at me, I will never tell you not to be frustrated, because Chris needs to get up out of that chair as fast as possible.
Anyway.
And he needs to turn down his headphones, because Sam has plugged in his headphones, Chris has his headphones all the way up, and it hurts your ears.
This started with the question of whether Braden or yourself would win in a fight. I'll take Braden. We'll see. I'd like to know. I'm going to text Woods. I'm going to say tomorrow, you need to address. Is it Braden or Skraby?
This is an interesting thing. Someone put odds on us. We're not actually ever going to fight, so don't
No.
even suggest that.
That is against company rules, I'm
Yes.
sure.
All right, we have a lot to talk about in the show that's more than scowling Sammy, as our boss said on the chat, which is true, sour Sammy. We have a signing of Luis Severino by the most random team. I'd never expected the A's to pay. Like, what is the point of it? We'll get into it, but what is the point of the A's spending any money on this guy?
Well,
We'll get into it.
Okay.
We're also going to talk about some of the pitcher rankings and what they should do with Dylan Cease and Michael King. And I think, I'm just going to say it, and then we'll talk about it later. I think they need to trade one of them, the Padres. So before we get to your thoughts on Luis Severino, Chris, I'm going to share an update on him. So we all heard his voice yesterday was rough. And so he went home, and he went to the doctor this morning. Doctor said he'll be fine tomorrow if he doesn't talk today, but he also got a cortisone shot in his throat, Sam. That sounds painful.
Well, my question is, number one, my first question is, why the cortisone shot?
I think because of the swelling, maybe?
Okay. My second question is it through the skin in your throat?
That's what I got to find out.
Or is it
That's what I got to find out.
down your throat?
I'm going to text him right now. I'm going to say, where do they administer the cortisone?
Yeah,
We'll
look,
update.
clearly there was some sort of issue, so I'm glad he got it checked out.
Yeah, he said if he doesn't talk today, he'll be back tomorrow,
right.
and we're going to be, it'll be Chris and I, and then we have a Skraby show later in the day. All right, your thoughts on Luis Severino. Why in the world would the A's sign him to such a big deal? It's the biggest deal in A's history.
Because they want a guy who's
I should
pretty
say
good.
3 years and $67 million.
Well, number one, I think they want a guy who was really good for the Mets last year and pretty good in the postseason as well. And really after a stretch where he didn't pitch a lot because of injuries and had a number of years where he was just not available and didn't throw a lot of innings because of injuries. Not only did he stay healthy last year with the Mets, but he was really, really good. Now, am I surprised it's the A's? Of course. Do I give them credit despite, look, leave the Oakland, Sacramento, all of that out of it for a second? Just in a baseball sense, good for the Sacramento A's for spending some money.
Don't call them that, but
Well,
that's what they're called.
For the
so
Athletics
strange.
for now, for the future, apparently Las
So
Vegas
strange
A's.
to me.
But look, I'm interested that they were willing to spend that kind of money. And I'm also interested to see what it means for them. Maybe, and if I'm an Oakland fan, this is going to make me crazy, but maybe as they eye a move to Las Vegas, and they've got to get the stadium built, and they've got a lot of hoops to jump through still.
Got to sell a lot of tickets when that stadium's built.
But maybe as they eye that move, you're going to see them start to, A, spend more, and B, try to be more competitive to put a better product on the field when that team shows up in Las Vegas. And if that is the plan, then good for them, because I commend them for that. But I will say, if I'm a longtime A's fan in Oakland and now looking at 2025 without my team, I'm saying, where the heck was this for the last however many years?
40 years, basically.
It is very odd that the moment they move out of Oakland, they sign the biggest free agent deal in the history of the franchise.
Maybe this is
That is odd.
That is
It
very
is
odd.
weird, and it is insulting, really.
I was going to say it's a slap in the face to all those Oakland A's fans. And maybe this is some sort of part of the conversation that Rob Manfred had with John Fisher. Like, we need to see you investing money into your team if we're going to back you through this process.
Right. Now, again, I think there's a part of me that commends them because, again, if they are spending to make their team better and try to win, I have no problem with that. Good for the A's and good for their front office for getting the green light to go ahead and do that. But it's going to be interesting. Now, I'm wondering if we start to see the A's not operate like the A's anymore because they're going to Las Vegas. And if so, that's a very complicated thing to digest, I think, for baseball fans and certainly fans in Oakland. But look, just from a baseball standpoint, Look, the A's at times last year were not awful.
They were
they've got
pretty
some good young players
for what they had.
Luis Severino was really good last year. Like,
see, I want to ask you about that because you're saying he's really good. I mean, I'm looking at his 2024 season stats. I know that doesn't tell the whole story, but he's like basically an average of 35 to 45 in his categories, amongst all the pitchers in Major League Baseball. He's 11-7, 3.91 ERA, 161 strikeouts, and 1.24 WHIP. That seems pretty average to me.
I mean, look, 3.91 ERA was very durable.
Yeah.
Look,
he did pitch a lot of games.
And Severino, before the injuries, look, he was really an elite starting pitcher with the Yankees. I mean, this was a guy who was a, 16, 17, 18, a frontline starter for the Yankees, and then just dealt with a ton of injuries. So I'm looking at it with Severino as had a really nice year with the Mets, sort of bounced back, stayed healthy, and now if he's going to be that guy moving forward based on his track record when he was a little bit younger, no, I'm for it. I really like this move in a baseball sense for the Oakland A's. I think Severino could be very, very good for them.
Let's talk about the contract and whether or not it's going to affect the overall pitching market on the other side. Also, I want to get your thoughts on the Padres trading either Michael King or Dylan Cease. I'm not saying they should do it. I'm just saying that it's maybe something that they're going to have to do, and we'll get into it when we get back here on 97.
But what if I want to get into it right now?
Well, you can't because I'm going to break, and I'll turn off your mic.
Attention, FEHB.
Back here in the Odyssey Palace, Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Gwynn on the road with his family. Chris just got a text telling me where the shots go when you get cortisone for your throat. And without revealing too much disgusting information, he said his backside.
What?
Both sides.
What?
2 shots, 1 in each side of the backside. I know.
For his voice?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
I thought a cortisone shot is like very localized.
I thought it was too. Maybe it's a different type of cortisone shot. I'm gonna have to get to the bottom of this tomorrow when he's back, because he says he's gonna be back. He says this has happened before.
What on earth is he getting?
Maybe it's a placebo.
Is he sure it's a cortisone shot?
He typed in cortisone, so I'm gonna take his word for it. But if there's any nurses or doctors on the chat, let us know.
Maybe he's joking.
Let us know. Maybe I said it's a show question, Chris. Where do you get the shot? Is it down your throat or is it in your throat? And he was like, neither. Backside, both sides, baby. That's what he said. So there's your update on Chris. We will be back tomorrow, hopefully.
I have one thing before we get to anything else, because we have it on one of the TVs here in the studio. Did you see that they're
around the horn?
canceling Around the Horn?
Yeah, I'm not too bummed.
I love Tony Reale and Around the Horn.
I'm not saying that he's not good. I'm just saying that, like, I never watched that show because it was always on in the middle of the day for me. I was in college or school or work.
That's a big difference between growing up on the East Coast and growing up on the West Coast. That, like, 4 to 5 p.m. window of Part of the Interruption and Around the Horn was, like, perfect for getting home from school.
Yeah, that is a good time. You know, when I was in school, though, we got home right when TRL started. So Total Request. Oh, maybe you're just a little too young for TRL.
No, Carson Daly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I was maybe at the tail end.
I watched my
but
Britney Spears video every day.
That's interesting because TRL was also in that, like, 4 o'clock window. So I'm wondering if on the West Coast they delayed it.
I think they may have.
That probably is what they did, yeah.
So you did get to see it live. So I was watching Total Request recorded.
I believe so.
TRR is not as cool as TRL.
Well, it was still usually light out in Manhattan when they would do that show.
That's true. I was thinking that same thing.
Yeah, so it wasn't 7 p.m.
No. You know, that show formed a lot of my musical tastes. Korn was always at the top of the list. Limp Bizkit was there for a while. Britney Spears, Eminem, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. Not that I was a huge fan of those, but I had a sister. I know all those bands.
I love NSYNC.
I know you too.
One more thing on PTI. I will say this about PTI, which is amazing. All the different things that have happened in sports media, in TV, in culture, the ever-changing landscape of really our business. It's amazing, and Around the Horn too, that those shows have pretty much remained unchanged. This whole time.
And I think that's
PTI in particular.
Yeah, PTI in particular. And PTI was way before its time because no one was telling you what topics they're going to be talking about. That makes me nervous because I know if I tried to line it up, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, very debate-oriented.
Debate-oriented. I know that Adam, our boss, is like a massive fan of PTI.
Oh, I love PTI.
I think DVRs it every day.
Tony Kornheiser, Hewlett High School alum, go Bulldogs.
Is that your high school?
That is my high school.
Wow.
Michael Wilbon, Northwestern University alum.
Oh,
Go
he just
Cats.
tipped his hat.
Got connections to both. Have only met one.
What are you doing here?
I met Wilbon a time or two. Tony, never. But hopefully, if I ever meet him, he'd get a kick out of...
knowing that?
Yes.
I think he would.
So,
he seems like a kind of guy that would like that.
It's actually funny. We just talked about this at Thanksgiving at Mikey Levitt's house in L.A.
Oh, yeah.
Apartment in L.A. Tony Kornheiser is on the Hewlett High School Wall of Fame.
Okay.
One day, Matt Skraby, maybe Sam Levitt.
You know,
next
I think
to Tony
it's going
Kornheiser.
To happen. Wow, that
on the
would
Hewlett
be
High
impressive.
School Wall of Fame.
Like being next to Tony Kornheiser would be impressive. It really would. We've talked about that on this show with La Costa Canyon, where I went to high school, and when I'm going to be inducted into their Hall of Fame, I have to compete with some stiff competition. Kevin O'Connell is one of the best head coaches in the NFL right now. So he's definitely going to get in before I'm going to get in. But I know that the LCC principal listens from time to time. So
All right.
please get me into that Hall of Fame. Please do it. I think you'll get in, Sam. I think you'll
Maybe
get in.
one day.
All right.
Maybe one day when I can have a show named after myself, like you.
You kind of do, though. Inside San Diego Baseball, Sam Levitt.
That's few months,
Padres pre and post game show with
2
Sam Levitt.
hours.
All right.
One day I aspire to be like you, Matt Skraby.
Thank you, Sam. I aspire to be like you. All right. We can just keep patting ourselves on the back as we go along, but we'll talk about, I said it, trading Dylan Cease or Michael King. And here is my thought on this. Both of them only have 1 year of control left on their contract. Both of them are going to have to be extended. They're going to have to be given a new contract. Both of them are going to make a lot of money. And I don't know that the Padres have the money to re-sign both of them and give them what they're probably going to make, which is in the $20 million range. If Luis Severino is making $22.3 million per year now, Dylan Cease and Michael King are looking at a lot more.
Way more.
Like $30 million, maybe $28 million, something like that.
What did Blake Snell just get? He got 189.
He got like
for
36
5 years. So that's an AAV of, and that's what it was, right? 189 for 5.
Here, I always go to Spell Track because that just.
I think it was 189 for 5.
182.
182. Hold on.
His AAV is 36.4 million.
Yeah, no.
But Blake Snell's won a Cy Young most recently. He had a great end to last year. Michael King hasn't done that.
Dylan Cease has never won
a Cy Young.
Cy Young. He was a second.
So does that hurt them?
No, I don't think the Cy Young has anything to do with it. Look, if Blake got 36.4 AAV, yeah, I mean Dylan Cease and Michael King, considering their stuff and their age, and I think King in particular, if King comes out in 2025 and has a season like he did last year, Michael King's going to get paid. Really, really paid.
Yeah.
I think he could get paid more than Dylan Cease even if he has that kind of year again.
He was more consistent last year than Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease was great at times, but Michael King was great overall.
I'm calling it right now. I believe Michael King will be in the Cy Young conversation in the National League this year. That's how good he was last year, and that's how much I think of Michael King. His stuff, his smarts, his work ethic. I think he's going to be great.
I agree with you.
So, to your point, back to those two guys.
He's going to make a ton of money.
You're right.
Both of them
Both those guys are going to make big-time money.
This is kind of like the Juan Soto thing where they had to move Juan Soto to help their team for 2024. They did. It proved that it worked. I know we love Dylan Cease here. I know we love Michael King. But you need to think about next season. Or, I guess, do you go all in this year and just hope that you win a World Series?
Well, look, I think there are two different parts of the conversation. One part is, are you going to be able to keep one of these guys long term, right? Are you going to be able to ultimately keep a Dylan Cease long term or a Michael King long term? And if the answer to that question is no, then I think it is very fair to look at, let's say, Dylan Cease. I'd be very, very hesitant to touch Michael King. That's how much I think of Michael King.
That does tell me a lot.
Not that Cease can't be an ace. He absolutely can, and he had stretches last year where he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But the up and down nature of his season, I think if you were telling me, hey, you got to trade one, I'd maybe trade Cease. If you could get back and fill a couple of holes with a Dylan Cease trade, I could be sold on it. If you're telling me you can get, let's say, a good young starting pitcher in return.
Yep. That's a must because they already need pitching. They can't just send a pitcher and not get one. If you could get somebody who could play left field, if you could get somebody who could be a DH first base type and maybe a prospect, again, what are you getting for what is essentially a rental? I don't know. I don't know that you're getting
a young starting pitcher
true, too.
and somebody who can be in your lineup.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're getting that.
It's true.
But if you can fill some needs in a deal like that, yes. If I'm AJ Preller, I am ears wide open. Look, I think they're very, very much in that position where AJ's got to be really, really willing to get creative. That's without knowing what the payroll number is, which is a huge question, which is a very, very vital part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Vital, yes. What is the payroll number? If you go over the luxury tax, what is the payroll number? But even without knowing that, yeah. If somebody calls up asking about Dylan Cease or even Michael King, and it's a good deal, it's a deal that fills needs, it's a deal that maybe makes you even better in 2025, despite losing somebody like that, if I'm AJ, I am listening. I'm not saying I'm doing it, but I am listening.
For everybody who hates me because I said that they need to trade Dylan Cease, think about the Juan Soto trade last year. There were some people that did not want him to go. The only real benefit of that trade for them was to fill some holes on their team and hopefully make out on some of the players, and they did. I think last year's trade of Juan Soto was absolutely 100% a success for the Padres, and it's even more so if he doesn't sign back with the Yankees. If Juan Soto is somewhere else in 2025, I'm not going to do the whole, did the Padres win the trade? I'm just saying it benefited the Padres a ton.
The other thing about Dylan Cease maybe being that guy that you would potentially move is the fact that he's projected to make nearly $14 million in arbitration. So you would be getting whatever you get back, and you'd be freeing up some pretty significant money. Michael King, by at least Fangraphs, is projected to make just under $8 million. So, Cease is the guy who's going to get paid more. Cease is projected at 13.7.
See, I would, if you were to give me those two numbers and have me guess who's getting paid what, I would have flipped them.
Well, it factors in a lot of things.
But Dylan Cease has more big league experience than Michael King does as a starter.
Right.
So that all goes into it as well. Adam on the chat says, adding those players wasn't the only benefit, Matt Skraby. They also cut tons of salary in the trade, which they did. So everything that they set out to do last year, trading Juan Soto, came to fruition.
Yeah, I as far as their return in the Soto trade, and I think you have to factor in the Cease trade into that. And look, the tentacles of the Soto deal aren't even finished yet, because let's say you do trade a Cease and then you get something back for him. Well, in a way, that's connected all the way back to the Soto deal when you traded for Drew Thorpe, and he was a big part of the package that went to the White Sox. So, look, I think with the Soto deal, if you look back on it now, I think the return they got was pretty valuable. It ended up being a really nice trade for both teams. The Yankees got a guy that helped them to a World Series. The Padres got a guy who is clearly a frontline caliber starter in Michael King. Higgy was way more impactful than I think you could have ever imagined. You were able to flip Thorpe somewhat into Cease, put him as part of the package. We'll see what Vasquez becomes. We'll see what Brito becomes. But at this point, I'm very comfortable saying with the Soto trade that it was a deal that I think worked for both teams, which I guess is ultimately the goal.
Yes, it is. All right, we're going to head to break. I just want to shout out Rod on the chat, though. He's at Disneyland right now, and he's still checking in with us, Sammy, to say hello. So thank you very much, Rod, for checking in from Disneyland. When we get back, I'm going to prove to myself and everyone else we cannot believe any of the reporting about Roki Sasaki. Okay? You ready, Sam?
I am.
All right, that's up next on 97.3 The Fan. 241 here on 97.3 The Fan. Gwynn and Chris, but filling in is Sammy and Skraby. Chris is out with his, he's resting his voice, and Tony is with his family. Now, there is, before we get into why we should never trust any of the reporting about Roki Sasaki, there is a controversial move that has been made here in the 97.3 studios. And I personally like the move. Some people are very confused by the move, and I don't know if I'm the only one to say this, but our boss Adam has been basically bald for most of our employment together, but now he's growing hair. I like the hair, but it throws people off.
he has bald's not the right word because he's not bald.
No, he I guess he would go no guard shaving it.
Yeah, no, he shaves his head.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I've known Adam Klug since the moment I met him.
Yeah.
I didn't ask if that was because he couldn't grow hair, if that was because he was
That's an awkward
balding.
question.
Well, no, I mean if he was balding or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And he's not. He's not.
What I knew. I haven't seen him, I don't know, in maybe 3 weeks.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's definitely different.
And he walks in, and I had heard this on the air
Okay.
a few times over the course of the last few weeks. I hadn't really thought about it, though, and then when I saw him today, yeah, he's really legitimately growing hair.
He is.
And he actually can grow a lot of hair.
He grows good hair.
Very good hair.
He's always said he can't grow hair. I'm like,
So
what are you talking about?
He looks different because even with a little bit of hair, it's a very, very different, but I think very good look. So I told him earlier today.
He's walking by the window right
He
now.
is. I don't think he can hear us. I told him earlier today, you've got to let it really grow because let's see when you
Yeah.
really let it
Get the
grow
mane.
out. Yeah, like even to your length or my length, which is still short.
Yeah.
But let it grow out a little bit because right now he's got just a little bit of hair.
Yeah.
Let it grow out and really see what it looks like because he can grow plenty of hair. I mean, he will have I would say, a relatively full head of hair.
I agree.
So it looks different, though.
See, here's the funny
looks
part.
good.
Is that some people just can't get over it. Like, I will tell you one person who can't get over it, and that's
Woodsy.
Tony Gwynn.
Oh.
Woodsy too. But Tony Gwynn Jr., the people that I spend the most time with, he can't get over it. Every time Adam walks in, Tony has to say something about the hair. And I told Tony, I think it was yesterday, I was like, you got to stop talking about the hair. And he goes, I'm just jealous because he can grow hair and I still can't.
When he walked into the back studio earlier, you saw my reaction. I was like,
Yes.
What?
You were taken aback.
I really was because I hadn't seen it. I hadn't really thought about it. And he looks good.
He
So
does. He does.
keep it going, Adam.
I appreciate it, Adam. Keep it going is right. And thank you for providing content for our station unintentionally. Okay, so why I'm proving to myself and everyone else that we shouldn't believe any reporting about Roki Sasaki is for this one reason. Adam sent us an article earlier, had Buster Olney and Jeff Passan commenting on Roki Sasaki, two high-level ESPN reporters, and they both have two very different thoughts on Roki Sasaki. Buster Olney said, there is widespread industry belief, correct or not, that Sasaki has probably already picked a team, and it's most likely the Dodgers. Now, Jeff Passan said, the industry should not forget about the San Diego Padres, Texas Rangers, and Chicago Cubs. Two very different things. So what I'm saying here, no one knows anything, and we're not going to know until Roki Sasaki chooses his team for real.
I don't, at this point, I don't know what to believe about Sasaki. I mean, we heard very early on that the Dodgers were going to be very, very serious players and were the favorites. And then it seems like the last, I don't know, week or two, more people saying the Padres are a great fit, at least, that maybe there's momentum towards San Diego. And now you've got, big time national reporters saying, two different things. So at this point, I don't know. Are the Dodgers the favorite? Have they always been the favorite? Have they always been the front runner in this Sasaki sweepstakes? Maybe, but maybe he ends up on the Padres. Maybe he ends up on neither, and he's with another team. So I'm with you at this point. I don't know who to believe and what report to believe, and I suppose we will see when Sasaki ultimately makes that decision.
Those two guys, Buster Olney and Jeff Passan, probably know a lot of the same people, and they have two different messages, which tells me that Buster Olney's source thinks one thing, Jeff Passan's source thinks another thing, meaning no one knows anything. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings is football. Head to your local Buffalo Wild Wings and try their new maple chipotle sauce for rich maple sweetness and a mild, smoky chipotle heat. Or for a bit of a kick, check out the new Cajun sauce for a rich blend of spicy and tangy pepper sauce. Stop by your San Diego B-Dubs or order now for takeout and delivery with Buffalo Wild Wings. Go. Let's talk about the Aztecs real quick. Aztecs basketball team, they went to Fresno last night, and they took care of business. Now, it was a little sketchy in the beginning. I think with like 15 minutes elapsed in the half, the score was 15-13 or something like that. But the Aztecs turned it on. They ended up winning at 84, I believe 84-62. And the Magoon Guath party, coming out party happened last night. He was incredible. 25 points on 9 of 13 shooting. He made 3 of 4 threes. He had 10 rebounds, 5 of those offensive rebounds, 2 blocks, and only 2 fouls. He did all of that in just 28 minutes. And not only that, Sam, he becomes the first San Diego State freshman with a 2010 game since Kawhi Leonard did it in January of 2010. So this is his 4th game. And he's already done something that Kawhi Leonard didn't do.
Yeah, really good win for the Aztecs last night. A game they really should have won up in Fresno. And the great part about yesterday for San Diego State, not only did they win their Mountain West opener, but that win over Creighton in Las Vegas now really has a new meaning of sorts, with Creighton beating number 1 Kansas yesterday.
Handily.
Yes.
By double-digit points.
So that'll certainly help the Aztecs and their net rating, all that good stuff. So very good day yesterday for the Aztecs, no doubt about it. And like you said, Guath had a great game. And Guath. Had a great game. And, really nice win.
I love Magoon Guath. I liked Nathan Mensah. Apparently, I like a player that can block shots, and, I don't care about the offense, but Magoon Guath can do it all. And watching him last night really showed me, because we had one of the coaches on before the season, and we asked about Magoon Guath and what we'll see from him this year. And the coach said, well, he's a freshman, so he's going to struggle, and then he's going to have great games where you see his talent on display. Last night was one of those talents on display. It was awesome to watch. They pulled away in the second half. And like you said, that win for over Creighton in Las Vegas, a huge win now after Creighton beats Kansas. I want to say this, too, because Ted Leitner, as we all know, Padres legend, San Diego broadcasting legend, Ted Leitner.
Padres Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, yes. He was honored at halftime of the game last night in Fresno with a plaque and resolution from the mayor declaring it Ted Leitner Day in Fresno. And they did this because this is his final season calling SDSU basketball games after retiring from football last year. But I'm happy to see that Fresno State's given Ted the respect that he deserves. And we better have a big old party for him, here in San Diego, for just to show him how much he's impacted people over the years.
Yeah.
I know that you're newer to San Diego, but Ted Leitner, he people tell me stories about Ted all the time, from when he was doing the news in the 80s to just different things. And I've heard, and I don't know if you've ever heard this story. Ted Leitner was on the call of a basketball game before I did my first ever post-game show on anything, and it was an Aztecs basketball game. And he doesn't know this, but he said something to me so small, but I was almost shaking. I was this nervous. And he goes, "Hey, kid, you're going to do great." And he walked by. And I was like, that is one of the coolest things ever, and it gave me the confidence to do the post-game show. And it's just small things like that that go a long way.
Yeah, look, Ted is obviously a legend. He's meant so much to this city and the fans, the sports fans in this city, whether it be Padres fans, whether it be Aztecs fans, and to the Padres organization, what he continues to do with the organization as a Padres Hall of Famer. I had the pleasure, and I don't remember when this was. I think it was over the summer at some point when when Woods was out one week, had Ted in for a couple of hours in studio.
Yeah.
And Ted was just,
Getting choked up.
Ted was just telling stories and, going through his career. And he's such a gifted speaker, storyteller. He makes everything so interesting. He's such a good broadcaster.
Yeah.
And listening to those stories, hearing Ted talk about them, hearing all the old Padres stories, it really is something special. And I have from time to time went back on YouTube and watched his old sportscasts on TV. And they are something.
They're funny.
Like, he is so good on camera.
Yeah.
And off the cuff. Like, it really, like, from a broadcaster perspective.
Being someone who's done that, you see it.
You
see what
watch,
he's...
you watch it and you're like, man, this guy is really good. Not everybody can do what he did in in those days and what he continues to do now. And great honor for him up in Fresno, and I'm sure at San Diego State at some point they're going to have quite a celebration for him.
I did love when he called Padres games and I ran the board. I've told this story on the air before. I don't know if you've heard it, Sam, but it was like game 146. And since I was doing Padres radio, and the Padres this season weren't very good. I think it was their 2018 year. And Ted's on the call, and it's 146. He calls for a legal, which means here in studio, the person running the board has to pull them down and then click something on the computer screen to play the legal. But you really have to be paying attention, because if you're not paying attention, and
you'll miss it.
You'll miss it, A, and B, you'll do what I did, and you'll think it's a commercial break, and you'll hit commercials.
Oh no!
And so I hear Dave in the headset going, "Legal ID, legal ID," and I was like, "Oh no!" And so I stopped it. I got everything back. I played the legal ID, and we come back, and Ted goes, "Game 146 here at Petco Park. Game 1 back in studio." And it was just so funny and perfectly timed.
You know what? Another thing about those legal IDs. Not only if you're not really listening can you miss it, but if you are not like close to the board, what I mean by that is, let's say you're sort of lounging
Proximity?
back. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Like on your phone.
Oh, like this, yeah.
Yeah, you're like all the
here.
way.
This is the common Padres board up move.
Right.
With me back looking at my phone.
You
during
will
the
have
game.
to very, very quickly hop up and then find the right pot.
Pull them down.
Yes. You'll be late.
Don't be late.
You'll be late, and it'll be noticeable.
And guess what? When they call for that legal, you have 10 seconds to play that legal. You have maybe a half a second of cushion on either side.
Yes.
Because then you're missing a pitch and everybody's angry.
And especially now with the pitch clock.
It is not easy to be in this chair for that legal ID. I couldn't wait to get on my phone after those games.
But
I was paying attention.
Our Frank, our Nick,
How
our
much do you think
Hamby.
Frank's on the phone? Do you think Frank? I'm going to watch Frank next time
No,
to see how much
I
he's
was
on the
going to
phone.
say they do a great job.
Oh,
They are on the legal IDs.
I was going to out him. I'm going to watch him next time we're in studio together, see how much he's on his phone. And I will call him out on the air if he is on his phone.
So mean, Skraby.
No, that's
so mean.
just...
Not a nice person.
Nope. See, I am not a nice person. I can beat Braden in a fight when we get back. Daily Gambit at 97.3 The Fan. Today, it is Sammy and Skraby, just filling in for Gwynn and Chris. 97.3 The Fan. Thank you to everybody who has joined us so far. You can watch us on YouTube if you would like. Just search 97.3 The Fan when you go to YouTube, or you can go to at 97.3 The Fan SD on Twitter. We are on Twitch as well. And you can find all this stuff, too, at Sammy Lev on Twitter. I was just made aware of a very serious story, Sam, before we get into the Daily Gambit. And you know who Sister Jean is, right?
Well, not only do,
Are you turning into Chris? Is it that chair?
hopefully not. Not only
You are going to Dallas next week.
What does that have to do with?
Your voice? You kind of need your voice.
Oh yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, okay.
Not only do I know about Sister Jean, I have a picture with Sister Jean
Wow.
because I was a Loyola Chicago broadcaster for 3 years.
You
4 years?
broadcast what? Men's basketball?
Everything. Men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, soccer.
Was this during their run?
It was the year after.
But still, I mean, there's excitement around the team. There is a buzz.
Yeah, I joined the year after they went to the Final Four. I was very, very involved.
That's awesome.
Stephen Woods is an alumni.
Loyola Chicago?
Yes.
Why did I thought he went to Notre Dame, or his favorite
I think
college
he
football
may
team
have
is Notre
switched
Dame.
schools a couple times.
Oh, so did I. So there's
But
nothing wrong there.
I believe, and if Woods is listening, he can correct us. I believe that he graduated from Loyola.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. You have experience with Loyola Chicago.
I was around Sister Jean all the time. I would be there when she would say her prayer before every men's basketball home game. Photos with her. I was on the road in the same hotels that we were all staying at, watching them bring her everywhere. Like, yeah, totally
She's a
around
celebrity.
it.
She is a
Very
celebrity.
much so, yes.
Well, yesterday, after Loyola Chicago's basketball team beat Eastern Michigan 76-54, there's a clip being posted that's going around Twitter right now, and it's all the players walking off the court, Loyola players, and junior guard Justin Moore, senior forward Jalen Deloach, both, I guess she sits there, and as the players are passing by, she gives fist bumps to each player. Well, these two guys were too cool for school, and they went by, and they did not give her a fist bump.
Well, I saw this video. And
you can just search Sister Jean and you will find it.
I saw this video, and look, it was not the best look in the world because she's literally sitting there in.
Does she do it every game? Every home game?
Well, she's there every game.
So she probably does this.
I don't know about the fist bumps in particular.
All right.
But she's sitting in her wheelchair.
Yes.
And it looks like they're like not giving her any attention. Look. Those guys are walking off the floor. It looks to me like they are looking towards the crowd.
Yes, they are.
People were very hard on these players for basically leaving Sister Jean hanging with the fist bump.
Which is how I presented it.
I think in reality, they were not really paying attention, didn't see her, were literally looking the other way. I did not think there was any malicious intent.
Yeah, I don't think so either. If you're malicious about not giving Sister Jean a fist bump, then you got some things going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did find this funny. It's not a great look, but I'm not going to hold these guys super accountable for it.
It was unfortunate.
It was, because she was sitting there. Everybody else except for them
Trust me, I was around that program, that school a lot. Those players, that program, they love Sister Jean and have great respect for Sister Jean. Now, I don't know if you saw this, and I just saw this before the show started. I forgot to bring it up.
Okay.
My friends at Loyola Chicago did a really, really good job with this because they put out a tweet 2 hours ago that says, "See you Saturday," and it's a video that is in their practice facility, and it starts with their team running sprints across the
Okay.
floor.
Mm-hmm.
And then it pans to Sister Jean
Okay.
in her wheelchair
Okay.
with a whistle, like smiling.
Like she's punishing them or something.
And
That's
then
funny.
and then the video ends with all of them giving her hugs and fist bumps
Okay.
as they walk out.
All right, this whole situation's fine.
Very well done.
Very well
Very
done.
well done.
That is funny.
They made light of it. They made a joke of it. They made a video of it. Very
I
good
love
job.
that Sister Jean has the sense of humor to do that because
Yeah.
that is funny.
Yeah, no, Sister Jean, when I interacted with her, when I talked to her, very funny, totally knows the game of basketball, very in tune with what's going on with the team and the stats and the players. When she would give her pregame prayer and address, she would always have a couple of funny lines about that day's matchup, about the team they're playing, very, very well done. So Sister Jean is one of a kind. She's great.
I just looked up how old Sister Jean is, and Sister
She's
Jean is
104?
older, 105.
105, wow.
And she seems like she's doing great.
She seems like she's look, I last saw her 3 years ago, so she was 102.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. I mean, totally with it and witty and just amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah, no, true blessing, amazing. 105.
And I'm glad that you brought up this second part of it because it seems like Sister Jean is fine. We don't need to feel bad for her anymore.
Look, I saw the comments under that initial video. People were losing their minds.
Well, we all got to calm down a little bit.
I was like, I understand it looks bad, but knowing that program and the school, I was like, there is nothing malicious about this. They made a little mistake walking off the floor.
Comment sections on all topics these days are dangerous places because there are some crazy things that are being said in those comment sections. So people don't get so mad at stuff if we don't have full information. I should take my own advice. All right, let's get to the Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo!
If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly. Let's start with our first bet from last night, which would be San Diego State minus 14.5 on the spread over Fresno State. This was a lot of points, but all of us took the Aztecs, and the Aztecs took care of business, 84-62, so that's 22 points. The UConn men's basketball team was playing Baylor last night. UConn favored by 3.5 points. Chris chose Baylor. Tony and I chose UConn. And UConn ended up covering by 1 point, 76-72. They ended up winning the game as well. Here's that game we talked about that's great for the Aztecs, that they beat Creighton, and now Creighton has beat number 1, Kansas. Kansas were 4-point favorites in the game. We all chose Creighton. Creighton won 76-63. Now, I'm really sad Tony's not here because his Lakers are as bad as the 49ers right now. It is not good in Laker Town. The bet was LeBron over under 1.5 threes in the game. All of us went over. He only had 1 3 made last night, and they lost by a lot of points. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 51.5 points, plus rebounds, plus assists. Chris and I went over. Tony went under. Giannis had 31, 11, and 5, which would make it 47. So it was 5 under, and Tony was the only one who hit that one. 3 more left. AD, Anthony Davis, over under 25.5 points last night. I said under, the guy said over. He had 8 points last night. Not good. Ducks and Kings. Which team scored more last night in their game? Chris and I said Ducks. Tony said Kings, and finally the Kings pay off for Tony. They scored 3. The Ducks scored 1. And the last bet, Boston Bruins minus 1.5 on the puck line at the Chicago Blackhawks. Chris and Tony chose the Blackhawks. I chose the Bruins. Bruins win 4-2. Now, tonight, Packers and Lions here on 97.3 The Fan. It's going to start at 4:30 here on the station. This part of the football year is when it gets fun. When we start getting Saturday NFL games, things start getting a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
This is a big game because they're in the same division, obviously, and the Packers are in third place. I believe they're 9-3. They're in third place in their own division because their own division is that good. So if they take down the Lions tonight, they can gain a little bit of ground in their division. Lions are favored by 3.5 points, Sam. What would you like to do here? And the Lions are at home.
Big game for the Lions. They have a pretty tough schedule to finish the year.
Not when they play 49ers.
No. I'm going to take the Packers to cover, but I'm going to say the Lions win this game.
That's
but
fair.
I will take the Packers to cover that 3.5.
Yeah, I will take the Packers as well. Packers, they're better than I thought they were going to be. They have shown me this year the addition of Josh Jacobs has really changed that team, and Jordan Love just playing great has changed that team. Jared Goff, quarterback for the Lions, over under 1.5 passing touchdowns. Jared Goff is an interesting one because you don't know if his team's going to be up by 40 or if he's just going to be handing off the ball the entire game.
Right.
But I do think this is going to be a competitive game, and I'm going to say he throws 2 or more touchdowns, so over. What about you?
I will. I'll go over. Yeah.
You sound very convinced.
Well,
by
that Lions offense is so good, especially at home.
It is.
Yeah, give me 2 passing tutties for Goff.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Lions running back, over under 90.5 rushing plus receiving. You're at first.
Give me the over.
Okay.
Jahmyr Gibbs on one of my fantasy teams. Then unfortunately,
Is that in this?
Yes. So I'm eliminated.
In the Odyssey?
Yes.
Don't worry.
So I don't care anymore what he does, but
Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm going to say he goes under. I think they try to stop him tonight. Josh Jacobs, over under 73.5 rushing yards. I'm going to say over. Josh Jacobs has been on fire as of late. Packers have any chance of winning tonight, Josh Jacobs has over that amount.
Yeah, give me the over.
All right. And then the final bet is a parlay that I found on a betting website. Would you make this bet is the question. Lions at a -5.5 point spread, and anytime touchdown score of Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then also Amon-Ra St. Brown over 80 receiving yards. You have to have all those hit for the parlay to go through. I'm going to say no. And the leg that doesn't hit, I think is going to be his 80 receiving yards.
Well, the hard part about this is that we both said
pick the Packers to win. We got to put that out of our mind for this in a vacuum bet.
I'll say no.
You'll say no.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll say no because I don't think the Lions win this game by 6 points.
I don't think so either.
I think it's going to be a close game, like really good, close,
Good defenses, good offenses.
Yeah, win it by a
division
field
foes.
goal, one score. Yeah.
This will change a lot of how the season goes for the Packers. If they win this game, if they lose this game, they're going to be kind of on the bubble of things.
Look, we could also be very wrong because the Lions have played really well, and they've blown out a lot of teams.
I'm so over the Lions.
Why?
I feel like everybody
They haven't been good and a legitimate Super Bowl contender ever.
I know.
And you have to be such a hater.
No, I don't have to be a hater. My team beat that team last year, and the Lions fans come at me like that never happened. I don't know if Lions fans remember. And yes, it's all about what are you doing for me lately? And obviously, I have no leg to stand on with the 49ers as of now. But Lions fans are overconfident. And the Lions are overconfident. Dan Campbell, the kneecap cannibal, telling everyone, hey, I'm going to open up my playbook. We're still good. We're still going to win. I say put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Cannibal. Put that playbook out there. Because that's ridiculous. Like, I understand what he's doing. He's trying to fire up his team, Sam. But it's stupid. Because you're never going to... You would not win a game if an NFL team had your playbook. You would not win a game. If an NFL team had the playbook that you were going to use for the upcoming game, you would know what to do.
But if you could look at the playbook, you still wouldn't necessarily know what
But you know
play is
formations.
coming. You know formations.
You know the code words that Jahmyr Gibbs posted online. But anyway, I know I'm angering Lions fans right now. It's not really, it's not a good look for me to hate on the Lions while my team stinks as much as they do. So, yeah, Sam's waving to someone outside. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. They were bringing people by.
Oh, they work here.
Who?
We actually at 4:20 we are going.
Was that Presley?
That was Presley.
But there were two
and
other
Katie.
people too. Oh, Katie.
Katie,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Katie.
Okay.
We're
I
actually
was waving, not knowing who I was waving at.
Gotcha.
But yes, I know Presley and Katie.
At 4:20, we're actually going to have John Flint from KSON come in here and talk to us real quick about the fundraiser that
great
they're
idea.
doing.
Yeah.
It's the St. Jude's. Every year they do a St. Jude's telethon, and they raise money for St. Jude's Hospital. And every year they raise a ton of money. It's for a great cause, and we have John in every year to tell us about it and where you can donate. So we'll have him in at 4:20. I also have my own little serious note that I should probably get to today.
I saw this earlier.
I don't want to make a big deal about it, but
you're due for a congratulations.
okay. Well, when we get back, we'll talk about that a little bit on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.
turn on the mic. Back here on 97.3 The Fan, Sammy and Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris. Watch us on YouTube. You have no idea what you're missing until you watch it on YouTube. You need to search 97.3 The Fan. You can see Sammy dance right now. Tony usually plays the piano during the ESPN music, but he thinks it's not a piano. I dance from time to time.
Do you know I played piano growing up?
Does not surprise me, but no, I did not know that.
Why doesn't that surprise you?
Just because you're kind of worldly, so
yeah.
You've done some things in your life. You just strike me as a piano guy.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't practice very much, so I never got great. But we had my recitals and
recitals.
Yeah, a piano teacher. Yeah.
Okay, how long did you do that for?
Probably early high school.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. I never did the whole musical thing.
Yeah, well, like recital, like you would like practice a piece, and then the teacher I had, they'd have a.
Oh, I see. I thought you were on a stage in front of everyone.
Well, yes, they'd rent out. They'd rent out a performance space, and each kid would go up and take a little bow, and we'd be in a little suit, and. Is
that your song? Can you play chopsticks? Isn't that?
I don't know. I can play. What was the one that
Mary Had a Little Lamb?
No, there used to be a book I had full of like little nursery rhyme songs. So it was like hot cross buns, hot cross buns, hot cross buns.
It's not appropriate for children.
What is a hot cross bun?
No idea.
Let's see.
I'm sure it's some sort of dessert, maybe. Or bread of some
cross
sort.
Buns, a hot cross bun recipe. But there's a song, hot cross bun song.
Never heard of this. Hot cross buns.
Play it.
Oh, I gotta get the song.
Well, we'll do it later.
Oh no, it's okay. We could do this because
there's like hot cross buns.
Oh my gosh, here it is. Give me a second.
I want to make sure
watch
it's like,
an ad, everybody.
It's like clean.
It's got like the Swedish Chef. Oh, that was just the. Is this it?
I don't know what this is.
Hot cross buns.
Hot cross buns. Hot
cross
buns.
Oh my goodness.
1 penny, 2 a penny. Hot cross buns.
It was. Yeah, it was like this. Yes.
Okay. I can't listen to that anymore, but hot cross
Isn't
buns.
that what I just did?
You did.
Hot cross buns. And we used to do that on the piano. Hot
1 a penny, 2 a penny. Hot cross buns.
Oh, wow. Okay. I hope everybody appreciates how much we learn about Sammy Levitt when he gets to do a radio show. We learned so much about
and I
Sam
also
Levitt.
think like when you were really little at the recital, like you would do very simple stuff like that. So literally like there would be like a 4-year-old on the piano playing dun, dun, dun,
So
dun,
everybody
dun,
played
dun.
Hot Cross Buns? You had to hear it
No.
over and over again?
No, because the 4-year-old might play, but a half hour later I might play. I could have been 13.
Oh. It's an interesting thing. I've never done the music thing ever. I was too busy trying to be a professional football player, so that
we
didn't work
still
out.
have the piano in my house at home in New York. It hasn't been touched in 2 decades.
You missed out on a great piece of content when you were doing Inside San Diego Baseball, Sam Levitt at your house, your parents' house, and you could have done a song for us on the piano. It would have been great.
Yeah.
It would have been great. All right, let me exit out of hot cross buns on my Google. But I will be serious for a second. I'm not someone who likes to be super serious about this, but I do think it's something worth saying. And that is today is my 8-year sober anniversary, meaning 8 years ago today, I started off trying to get my life together. And I have more of my story if you want to go to my Twitter at Matt Skraby or Instagram. But basically, 9 years ago was the beginning of the end for me. And through the year of that, from 9 to 8, I got kicked out of my house. I was at a point my doctor told me that I wouldn't make it to 40 if I kept drinking like that. I went to the doctor one time. My blood pressure was like 220 over 160. I was doing bad physically. I was doing bad mentally. I wasn't taking any mental health medications. I wasn't going to therapy. And my family basically said, we're going to give you an opportunity to go to rehab. And if you don't take advantage of this opportunity, then you're going to have, we're not going to talk to you anymore. We're not going to be a part of your life anymore because we cannot handle you anymore. You are now a liability to us. And I was a complete liability to them. And so I tried to take advantage of this. I ended up getting through rehab, but I relapsed twice in rehab, actually got kicked out of rehab for showing up to rehab intoxicated. And I was at rock bottom at that point, or what I thought was rock bottom at that point. And so I went home the next day, and I remember being like, man, I really wish they didn't kick me out, because I was getting towards the end. And for some reason, they called me out of nowhere. And I wasn't drunk at the moment, which was very strange for me at that time in my life. And they said, if you're sober and you can come down here right now and you can blow zeros on the breathalyzer, then we're going to allow you to finish this out and get the next 2 weeks. And for whatever reason, in my mind, that was the click. That was the, oh, I just got what I was wanting, which is being back in rehab. Maybe this world isn't so bad. Maybe this world does have good plans for me. Maybe I can do this. And so I went back to rehab, and that was December 4th was the last day I ever drank. And it's the best decision I've ever made in my life. I'm able to be a part of my niece's life. I'm able to do this job. I am not here right now talking to you, Sam, if I didn't stop drinking. So today is 8 years. And for everybody out there, if anybody is thinking, hey, this kind of sounds familiar, or I want to stop drinking, you should. You should put the work into it, because it's worth it. And your life is going to be so much better. I used to wake up, Sam, and I'm not embarrassed to say this, because there's a lot of people that do this. I used to wake up crying every day, thinking my life is terrible, calling my parents, telling them how much I hated my life, how much I hated myself. And over time, it just got to the point where I'm not saying that I would have done anything about it, but my mental health was not going in the right direction. And so I made it out of it, and everybody can make it out of it. I go to therapy, I take medication, I go to AA meetings, I try to help people when they ask me. But this last 8 years, I've grown a ton, and listeners and people I work with have helped me to do that as well. Because when I first got here, I was only like 2 years sober, maybe a year sober. And so that's a really critical time. And being here, working here, helped me to have something that allowed me not to go back to drinking. Now, did I turn my job and my work into another addiction? Yes, I did. But that was a better addiction at the time for me, was to focus on work instead of drinking. And so over time, you really do learn how to balance things out. But thank you to everybody for the nice wishes. And please take care of yourself. Do something good for yourself, because there's a lot of people out there that deserve it who may not think that they deserve it. Just know that I was one of those people who I did not think I deserved anyone's sympathy or anyone's attention, anything. So there.
Good job, Skraby.
Thanks, Sam.
We are proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What I think I saw earlier,
2,922 days.
22.
Yeah.
Very good job. We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Love you,
Thank
man.
you. Oh, here's a problem. I have a problem saying love ya. I have a problem. It's never been easy for me. But you know what? Right here on the air, love you too, Sam.
Well, you are a good guy. You're a hard worker. You're kind.
Not kind,
You got a good soul.
I'm too kind. I can't beat up Brady in a fight.
You're a very, very, very good guy.
Thank
Role
you.
model. Good guy. Have enjoyed getting to know you the last 2.5 years.
Me too. When I first saw Sam posting that he was eating a California burrito on his way to San Diego, I thought,
oh God.
I thought,
This
wow,
guy.
we're doing the California burrito thing. But it ended up turning out that Sam was a great dude.
sometimes I do think about how my social media reflects on me.
It reflects on everyone.
Well, yeah.
I get what you were trying to do. You're just trying to ingratiate yourself into the San Diego community, and you did that.
And all this TikTok stuff, I'm annoying.
No, you're not annoying.
I'm annoying.
People wouldn't watch your TikTok or whatever if you were annoying. See, all of us out there have doubts about ourselves.
Oh, yes.
All the time. Have you ever sat before a show, Sam, and thought, I'm not that good. Why am I sitting here? Because I have myself. I thought, okay, got to go for showtime, and then things work out. It's just a simple doubt in my head.
I know we got to get the break, but I'm curious. We never talked about this. Did you ever do anything radio or broadcast related before you were sober?
Did I do radio? Yes.
Okay.
Actually, one of my first bits was on a radio station, a rock radio station in town.
I've heard about this.
And it's a bit where you go out and you ask people in bars trivia questions. And the bit was for them to be drunk, but the bit turned into me getting drunk and then slurring all over the place on the radio. And the people that, I worked with at the time, like, I was all about it. And once I told them, like, hey, I am starting this new lifestyle, they were very cool about it. They're like, okay, we'll send someone else out and do it.
Right.
But that was one of my first things, was being the drunk guy on the radio. And I'm glad I'm not the drunk guy on the radio anymore. So anyway, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll be back. I don't know where to go with it after that, but we'll be back.
I'll wrap it up. Want me to send it to break?
Yeah,
I'll send it to break. Skraby, great job. We're proud of you. We're happy to have you here. You're a big part of 97.3 The Fan. And when we come back, we have a big five here on Gwynn and Chris on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's voiceover material.
Ben and Wood.
Odyssey Palace 97.3 The Fan. Hot cross buns. Hot cross buns is stuck in everyone's head, and so I'm going to make everybody live it with me for all of eternity. So
I have before we get to the Big Five, a quick request from the listeners and the viewers out there. You'll see that Matt Skraby, if you're watching on YouTube today, is wearing one of his own pieces of merchandise.
Yes.
So here is my question. If I were to make merch, San Diego, what would you like that merch to look like and have it say? Now,
I actually need a replica sport coat that you wear.
I was very kindly late in the season handed a T-shirt that said Champagne Sammy on it.
Oh, yes.
So maybe something along those lines.
Wherever Sammy goes, the champagne flows.
Well, and now,
but it didn't really count.
Well, every champagne counts.
Champagne flowed here in this last season.
So anyway, but what would you like to see that merch say?
Tell him.
That's what I want to know.
All right. With that being said, let's head to traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Crash has cleared in the Hillcrest area, southbound 163 near University, so speeds are looking better there. Now Cordell traffic cam shows stalled motorcycle northbound 5 before Encinitas Boulevard. It's in the center divide. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
My friend just texted me and said, you can't tell people about your sweatshirt and not tell them where to get it. So you can go to my Twitter, at Matt Skraby, MATTSKRAB as in boy Y, and you'll see the link up top. But it's skrabinator-shop.myspreadshop.com. So there you go. We have limited time, so we need to start.
Number 5.
If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiros for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. All right, the Aztecs basketball team is the second best team in San Diego behind the Padres. And I'm not talking about popularity, I'm just talking about team success. And yes, I do know the Wave were good, but the Aztecs have been doing this for a sustained period of time. However, the reach of the Aztecs basketball team still struggles to make its way into some homes around San Diego. Was at the dog park yesterday asking about this, and no one really had any idea of what's going on with the San Diego State Aztecs in their home. So, Sam, what?
Okay, go on.
How do the Aztecs capture more of the San Diego fan market?
But what does that mean, make their way into their home?
Just being aware. Just being aware that there's a good team, a good college basketball team in town that you can go see. Because when I was talking to these people, they're like, oh, I thought they were bad. So they were really checked out.
Who would think that, though? They've been a very good program
but Sam,
for a very long time.
We live in the sports scene.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean...
He hemmed it on for like 30 seconds. What do I think? I think that...
I just don't... I mean, they're good.
I think they need more marketing.
They play a lot of national TV games, so easily watchable.
True. I think that they need more.
They have a nice arena, good crowds.
I think they need more marketing. I think they need more awareness. I don't know how easy that is to do or how much money they have to spend on that, but I think that they need to be doing somewhat what the Padres are a little bit, having players go out to schools and talk to kids. And I don't know, again, if it's feasible because it's a college program.
Maybe more social media.
Oh, they do a great job on social media.
I know
but
a thing or two about social media.
Yes, you do. Hire Sammy if you would like help with your social media. He's got like 1 million followers on TikTok. But I think that that's what they need. They need more. They need to spend money to make money.
Okay. Look, I feel like they do a great job. They've got a great program. They get great crowds. They have a nice arena. Play a lot of games on national TV. Look, if they played in a bigger conference, which hypothetically they're going to, and they move to the new Pac-12, that could help.
Yeah,
but
that could.
I think they do a really nice job, man. It's a good program.
It is a good program.
With fans, I mean, I'm not sure. Not to hem and haw too much.
No, I know.
But
I just am sensitive
I'm not
because
totally
that's
sure.
what Chris does.
Oh, I don't know. Let's move on.
Number 4.
I could do that because he's not here with his, and he can't talk because he doesn't have his voice, so it's even better. There are going to be some changes to NCAA uniforms in the near future. The powers that be are going to most likely allow schools to sponsor patches on uniforms, much like the ones we already see in pro sports. The estimates for jersey patch values range pretty widely, if that's a word, as little as $500,000 annually for schools to as much as $12 million annually for the top power conference programs. In the NBA, franchises make $10 to $20 million annually on their sponsor patch, according to figures from sports marketing firm Wasserman. Yes, I can read. I'm up first. Do you have any issues with this?
No.
The only issue I have with this is, where is this money going? Is it going right back into the school president's pocket, the athletic director's pocket? Because if you're going to put patches on your players, you need to let players in on this money. They're going to forget about these players. That's the only issue. I don't care about the aesthetics of it. I just don't want the money going to the rich people when it should be going to the actual product, which are the players.
Look, I think it would be kind of cool if they took at least portion of that money and honestly other marketing money as well, and at least put it towards some sort of NIL initiative that was going back to players. I don't know that that's how this is going to work.
I don't think it
will.
But
look, these athletic programs already do a ton of sponsorship deals already, whether it be the arena or whatever it is. So, look, in pro sports, we've totally taken on the jersey patch. So I get it. It's money they're leaving on the table right now.
Good answer.
Number 3.
It is money left on the table if they don't do it. It's been the week of Aziz Al-Shire, but not for good reasons. After his hit on Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence, he was suspended 3 games by the NFL. He appealed, didn't win, and then he took to Instagram. I don't know if you guys saw this out there, but he posted a picture of just the face of the Joker and then wrote in his Instagram caption, in all caps, "If you want me to be your villain, I'll be your villain." Flip the bird emoji. See you soon. ... Joker emoji. So he's not happy about being painted as the villain. But Sam, do you think his response is out of line?
Yeah. I think it's, whether he agrees with the suspension or not, I don't think it's the way to respond to clearly something your league thought was not only out of line, but also the fact that the suspension, if I recall from the letter from John Runyon.
Yes.
Part of this is that they view him as a non-first-time offender.
Correct.
At something like this.
Repeated offenses.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think this is how you respond. I think you take the 3 games and you try to be better when you come back. I don't. I think this is out of line.
I do think it's out of line, but I don't at the same time, because
he did something wrong.
I know, but that's
he's trying
the thing.
to turn himself into
the villain
victim.
Well, he's saying the NFL is painting him as the villain by suspending him for 3 games, which I kind of think they are because they don't suspend everyone for these hits.
It was a heavy suspension. I still think as a pro athlete,
you take it and move on.
To post the Joker face with
it
that,
is kind of aggressive.
Yeah, yes.
It's very aggressive.
Yeah, I don't think it's the way to respond to it, no.
No.
Look, I know there are people out there, not just him, but others that have talked about it that don't agree with the 3 games.
I don't.
So I still don't think that's how you respond.
I just want to know, next time someone hits a quarterback as they're sliding and they get flagged for it, are we going to look at it for suspension? Because now every hit has to be treated the same. And I get the repeated offenses is why he got 3 games, but I don't feel like... I feel like this is a moment for the NFL to do the right thing, according to people, because there's a lot of eyeballs on it. But there are hits every week that could probably be fined or suspended, and they just don't do it. But you've convinced me. You cannot post the Joker after being suspended for almost taking off Trevor Lawrence's head. You just can't do it. Yeah. It's not a good move.
Number 2.
The Diamondbacks have announced they are going to do something to make baseball affordable for their fans. They are going to do something called the D-backs Ballpark Pass, and it's going to be a price of $299 for 83 home games. I guess there's 2 that are going to be, or a couple that are going to be played outside of the season. But if you average it out, it comes to a mere $3.60 per game, which is an excellent deal for anyone out there. And they said the D-backs Ballpark Pass is a strong example of why our affordability is recognized year after year and a testament to our commitment to providing the best overall fan experience. Blah, 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 blah. I'm up first. Should more teams do this? I think yes. I don't know where these people sit, but if you, and I don't know, and I think it's a case-by-case basis per city, per team. Does your team sell out like the Padres? Do they really need, do they have... They're going to be losing money if they give out tickets to every home game of the season for $3.60. So I think this is a case-by-case basis, but I do like this because people cannot say in Arizona at the Diamondbacks stadium that they priced them out. So I like it.
Yeah. Well, number one, I want to understand what you get for that $299. Do you get a seat?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me go.
It's not just standing room?
Let me see.
To be honest with you, it could just be standing room, but those D-backs games are not sold out typically anyway, so you could probably get upstairs and sit down. I mean,
so basically what you're saying is save your $299 and just buy tickets whenever you want to go.
That's what I used to do at Citi Field. I used to buy tickets all the way in the upper deck in the outfield and at least sit.
Oh, here it is.
Sit behind home plate in the upper deck.
Wow, you are right, Sam.
Standing room?
It doesn't even say that. It's very shady the way they word it.
What does it say?
Includes access to all 81 regular season home games plus 2 exhibition games. Doesn't say seat. Doesn't say standing room. Well, so basically, they're getting you in the stadium.
One of my very good friends is the one of the PR guys for the D-backs. I can text him.
Oh, you should. You should. I
see what it actually is.
I think the deal is good, but now that I know I'm not getting a seat, I'm not as likely to.
Let me. You said should more teams do this?
Yeah.
Look, I am all for making it more affordable to go to a game and giving more people access to go to baseball games. Now, let's take the Padres, for example. They don't need to do this.
They don't.
They're selling out, not doing this.
No, the Diamondbacks are doing this because they want butts and
From
seats.
A business standpoint, there are going to be teams where
the Yankees don't need it. Red Sox.
Now, if you're the Padres and this, say, was only standing room, maybe you do end up offering something like that where it's, hey, you can get in with a standing room ticket for such and such many games.
Yeah.
On a set price. I could see something like that.
I think the Padres did something years ago where they, you had a ticket package, and I know people on the chat are going to know, but you have to win a certain amount of games, or if the Padres don't win, you get to come to another game for free. But I do remember that a long time ago that they did something like that. But you're right. The Padres don't need they don't need to give away tickets right now. I mean, they are one of the most highly attended baseball teams in all of baseball, and they don't want to give away tickets for $3.60, which is bad business.
It is interesting in Arizona because they don't always have the greatest attendance for their games. So, hey, it's a great look. If you're a big Diamondbacks fan, that's awesome. Like if you're young and it's standing room only and you're good without a seat, or you're just going to go to the upper deck and sit down,
which is what
that's
I would
great.
do.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, everybody out there, we're not going to be playing Chris versus the fans or Sammy versus the fans, so give us a call. Fifth caller to 833-288-0973 is going to win 2 tickets to San Diego State versus USD, the basketball game at Viejas Arena this Saturday. Get tickets at goaztecs.com, 833-288-0973. Fifth caller. We get back. More Sammy and Skraby, and then we're going to stop in with St. Jude's, the fundraiser that's going on with KSON at 420 on 97.3 The Fan. Our fifth caller for those Aztec tickets, so he will be enjoying San Diego State basketball against USD on Saturday at Viejas Arena. Sorry to all of you that did not win. Steven did, and he got lucky. So congrats, Steven. Have a great time at the game. Like I said, we are not going to be doing Sammy versus the fans today. Chris, if you haven't heard, if you're just tuning in, Chris is out with his throat ailment. He should be back tomorrow. If you missed earlier in the show as well, we asked him, because he told me he got a cortisone shot for his throat, which I think sounds awful.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to find out more information tomorrow.
I don't think it was a cortisone shot.
That's what he...
Well, because explain it. He later said...
Oh, he later said, because we were asking whether or not he did it.
Whether it goes
in the front of the throat or if it goes in your mouth into your throat, the cortisone shot.
Right.
He said neither. He said he got 2 shots, 1 in each backside area, so I don't get fired.
Speaking of hot cross buns.
Yeah. Oh, don't Google hot cross buns. It's a nursery rhyme that you will never get out of your head. But yeah, Chris said he got it in his backside, which I don't know.
Yeah, I always thought cortisone was like localized.
That's what I thought. I got a cortisone shot in my shoulder before
you
I
could
got
get
my
it
surgery.
in your elbow. I mean, it's like,
and honestly, it did not feel great when they did it.
Oh, when they gave you the cortisone shot, it was in your shoulder.
In my shoulder.
Yeah,
it was in the local area.
I wonder if he's just wrong about the type of medication he was given.
But maybe you can't just put cortisone in your neck,
maybe
in your throat. We will. He said he's going to be back tomorrow. He said that the doctor told him not to talk today, and that he'll be back tomorrow. So we'll see about that. But I don't know what the doctor injected him with, because it may have not been cortisone. He's just like, drop your trousers, stab. All right, everybody, we are getting to the end of the show here. We are going to be visited by John from KSON, John and Tammy in the mornings on KSON. He'll be joining us here at 4:20. But right now, Sam, you one more thing before we go into it. Chris versus the fans is usually in this segment. It's presented by SD Fat Loss. Lose 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days. Visit sdfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation. So we've been talking a lot about the Golden at Bat here on the station on Gwynn and Chris.
Yes.
You had your Inside San Diego Baseball Sam Levitt last night. I did not hear you talk about this when I was listening, but I did see a tweet from you earlier this morning about the Golden at Bat, and you framed it like you don't hate it.
Yeah, look, and people do not like this take. They didn't like last night either.
I'm like, what?
Look, I'm not saying I'm 100% in on it, but I understand why it would be appealing. There's a part of me that thinks it would be really, really fun and cool. If you could pick a late game scenario once per game, I don't know, maybe once every 5 games, 10 games, I don't know, where you could have a guy, your best player, come up in the biggest spot of the game. To me, one of the great anticipatory moments of the game is when you have a big-time player coming up in a big-time spot in a close game. So the idea of adding one of those moments, I think it could be really, really cool. Look, the negative to it really is 3 things. Number one, baseball is a game that is richly entrenched in stats,
in history,
in records, in history, and you are affecting that. That's number one. Number 2, you are messing with a pure tenet of the game, and that's the batting order. I mean, that's as basic as it gets. And number 3, you're messing with just the organic nature of the game. Hey, if the number 8 hitter, a light hitting whoever,
who's the who usually hit 8 for the Padres?
I'll give you an example. Let's say Bryce Johnson last year comes up
there you go.
In a 3-2 game, Padres trailing, bottom of the 9th inning, runners on second and third, chance to win the game. Look, I could understand a rule that allows you to insert Fernando or Manny or Jackson Merrill into that spot. I could see where that would be kind of fun, kind of appealing.
I'm trying to wrap my head around
But
this.
you are stealing that organic moment for a guy like Bryce Johnson.
Yes.
And some of the best moments of a season, of a postseason, are when those guys come through in spots.
Actually, Jesus has a really good point on the chat right now. MLB already has a golden at bat. It's called a pinch hitter, which is kind of true. Although
Yeah,
there are certain
this
rules.
is
You can't put someone back into a game. Blah blah blah.
This is taking the pinch hit philosophy.
I'm sorry?
Pinch hit philosophy.
I heard something else. But go
pinch
ahead.
hit
Yes,
philosophy.
Thank you.
And taking it a step further.
Look,
in a lot of ways, I am a purist. In a lot of ways,
that's why I'm so surprised at this reaction.
No. In a lot of ways, I am a purist. In a lot of ways, I kind of hate it. But this one in particular, I feel like if people were open to it, it actually could be really, really fun and really kind of cool. But it's a tough one, and it is a little bit different than the clock or than replay or than the 3-batter minimum. But I will say this. For every fan out there that's listening or that hates me for saying that I don't hate it.
No one hates you.
For every fan out there that says, well, if they do this, I'm not going to watch anymore.
Oh, that's not
I
gonna
call
happen.
baloney.
They're going to watch.
Number one, I think they'll watch. And number two, do you remember when we had the pitch clock stuff?
Yes.
I mean, people were up in arms all over the place. People hated it. People said they weren't going to watch because baseball, one of the great things about it, one of the pure things about it, and I agree, is that there was no clock on it. Any kind of clock on it.
Yeah.
And they put a clock on it. Well, guess what? We're 2 seasons in.
It's working out great.
I don't hear anybody talking about it anymore.
But I think
I
that's
only hear good
different.
things about the pace of the game. I agree it's different.
It's
but
way different.
The point is, people tend to warm up to whatever they're given.
That's true. That's true. It is that way. People will end up liking it once their favorite player gets golden at batted and hits a walk-off home run.
And if you think it's a crazy idea that they won't actually do, this has been the formula of Rob Manfred and this current Major League Baseball executive office, that they float these things out a few years before it actually happens.
To gauge the temperature.
We heard about replay coming. We heard about the pitch clock coming, and then it was implemented in the minor leagues. We heard about 3-batter minimums. We typically hear about these things. We're now hearing about at least
ABS, yeah.
ABS, automated strike zone, or at least the challenge system. Seems like it's going to come at some point.
That definitely does. I know.
When they say something publicly, there's the track record of down the line, it actually does happen.
I think what Rob Manfred and MLB are trying to be, and they shouldn't be this, but they're trying to be like the NBA. And the NBA does crazy things in their season that, like the NBA or the in-season tournament, the Cup, NBA Cup, people, I still don't really get it, but they are trying things and it seems to work out. Baseball is trying to mess with the fabric of the rules of the game. And maybe what they do, and if they do a golden at bat, maybe they do it like the NBA Cup. You can only use it in certain games, and then those games are set aside as different games because they had different rules. Because one game you can use the golden at bat, and everybody in the league can. In another game, no one can use it.
Again, I'm not saying I love it. I'm saying I don't. My knee-jerk reaction is not one of, this is the stupidest idea in the history of baseball, in the history of American pro sports, and I'm not watching ever again if they do it.
Yeah, that's crazy to say.
That's not my reaction. My reaction is, well, sort of interesting. There is a case that in the NFL, you have the ball in the hands of your best players late in a game in big spots. In the NBA, you can always have the ball in the hands of your best player in big spots at the end of the game. And in baseball, because of the nature of the game and the batting order, which is a very, very basic part of the game.
It's like how the game is structured.
You are not guaranteed to have that moment for your quote-unquote best player. And I can understand somebody in a Manhattan office looking at it saying, is there a way we can capture that? Again, I'm not saying I love it, but
at least I guess what we could say is at least they're thinking about ways to make the game more exciting.
You could sell me on trying it. You could sell me on it.
Interesting. I'm always down to see it happen. Try it.
Frank last night thought I was nuts. People on Twitter thought I was nuts.
I don't think you're nuts.
You know what it is? I think people were very, very surprised to hear me not totally bash it, because I think a lot of people view me as like sort of a purist,
my hands in the air,
more old soul kind of guy when it comes to baseball, and I am. But I'm not against trying new things that make the game more fun, more entertaining. And I know people say, well, the people who love baseball are already watching. Well, maybe there's an audience out there that it would attract. True. I don't know.
I guess I'm trying to think of how it would make sense in other sports, like in the NFL. What if you had one down per game that you could replay? That would be crazy. Like it's a touchdown pass that the player dropped or what? I don't know. Or you could pick up a flag off the field, like it's a pass interference penalty, and the guy
right,
and you could throw your golden play or golden down, and then it has to be replayed. That to me would be crazy, just as crazy.
Yeah,
that would be weird.
It'd be weird.
But I am down to see in spring training how this golden at bat thing works. No spring training, just get it right in the regular season.
I don't. What good would it be in spring training? You have guys. Number one, the games don't matter. Number two, you have guys not playing past the 5th inning, 6th inning. Like you're not presented with the opportunity to even have something that means that much. Like I was thinking about it as you were talking. Like, could you try it in, let's say, the World Baseball Classic in a couple of years? But I think that kind of defeats the purpose, because those teams, a lot of the teams, they're so laden with stars anyway that, look, you're not going to, let's say, insert Manny Machado if Rafael Devers is coming up. Like, you're not going to do that because you already got Devers there. You're not going to tell Devers sit down for man, like, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So what I mean is great player for great player.
Yeah. We'll see.
I don't totally hate it. I really don't.
I think Rob Manfred thought he was pretty cool and smart when he said this, but it's backfired a little bit on him. But I do agree that we do overreact too strongly to things.
Did you hear the clip we played last night of the Dan Le Batard show? This is back, I think, in 2015 on ESPN. This is with Stu Gatz when they're interviewing Rob Manfred. And Stu Gatz brings up what he calls the magic at bat. It's literally this rule.
The same thing?
And Manfred totally shuts it down.
Of course, because it wasn't his idea.
And now they're talking about a quote-unquote golden at bat. It was really amazing.
Oh, I hope the Le Batard show is running with that right now.
I think they have a strong case to make that they actually came up with the idea.
Wow. That would be cool. That would be awesome if Rob Manfred... that weasel Rob Manfred.
A lot of people in the chat saying it's Banana Ball. Savannah Bananas.
See, I don't have any problem with people being a fan of the Savannah Bananas. But
not at all.
It's not my style of baseball. I guess
no,
if you hit a foul ball and they catch it in the stands, you're out.
It's a total.
I know what it is. Yeah, it's
look,
not for
they do
serious.
a great job. I mean, they got quite the following. Jackson Olsen, friend of mine, social media guy. By the way, and I learned this last night, the Bananas play at Petco Park September 5th and 6th.
Is that right?
Yes.
Maybe we'll do something for that.
I'd love to go.
I've never been to a Savannah. I know that Katrina on our chat, she's been to a Banana Ball game.
Oh yeah, people travel to go. It's supposed. I've heard nothing but great things. So if you want to go to the Savannah Bananas, September 5th and 6th at Petco Park, get your tickets now.
Padres better give you some commission for that whole thing right there. All right, when we get back, we're gonna talk about.
Give me some commission.
Oh, sorry. We're going to talk about something serious, and that is St. Jude's Hospital. And right now they have a telethon going on for KSON. We're going to have John from John and Tammy in the morning on KSON come in here and explain what's going on, see how you can help everybody. So stick around. Got one more segment here on Gwynn and Chris, Sammy and Skraby, 97.3 The Fan.
From the 90.
segment here on Gwynn and Chris, 97.3 The Fan. Matt Skraby here. Sammy Levitt filling in for Chris. Tony Gwynn Jr. out with his family right now. Chris is supposed to be back tomorrow, so we'll see. But as of right now, that is the plan. We got a very special segment for you right now, and that is because John from John and Tammy San Diego's morning show on KSON is here in studio with us. And John, every year you guys do an amazing St. Jude's event. And try talking now.
Thank you, Scripps.
Okay, there we go.
I wonder, can we just pause, though, so all your listeners can say who after my name? Because no one knows who I am.
Oh, John.
I love it. No, you said everything right.
Okay,
but
good.
I can just picture. I can just picture Ed in the car right now. Go, who the hell's John from John?
No, KSON is a massive
John
station.
And Sam. Who's John and Sammy? What the heck?
John and Tammy.
Thank you.
Sammy, are you on the morning show too?
I should be so lucky.
John and Tammy, San Diego's morning show, huge show.
Thank
KSON
you.
103.7. You guys are great. You
I
guys have been on the
appreciate it.
air for a very long time doing great things. But this St. Jude's event that you guys do every year is something that you love to do and is very close to your heart.
Well, I mean, I have two beautiful young women who I'm very proud and happy to call my daughters, who are alive and are thriving, and I've never had to think about anything except I can't wait to walk them down the aisle or dance with them or go to a dad-daughter dance. I can't imagine thoughts of like, oh, I have to go and plan my daughter's funeral, or I have to go take her to an oncologist because she's got leukemia. But and I don't mean to get heavy, but that's what we're doing for the next couple of days on KSON. We've been doing this radiothon for 37 years.
Wow.
And what makes it even more special is that we were the first radio station in America to do it. Randy Owen from the group Alabama happened to be driving through San Diego, true story, heard our radiothon and said, I've got an idea. I'll bring this nationwide.
Wow.
And the Country Cares for St. Jude Kids radiothons that you hear on stations all across America started right here on KSON in San Diego. It has now raised over $1 billion for St. Jude. It is the biggest fundraiser St. Jude does every year, and based on the fact that St. Jude is a public-funded facility, that says a lot, that this is the biggest fundraiser of the year for them. That said, we are on our station right now, 103.7 KSON. Just search KSON in the Odyssey app if you have a second. That's fine. Or if you don't want to listen, that's fine too. Just go to KSON.com or text the word KIDS, KIDS, kids. I'm sorry, I have to spell out kids for my audience. Probably not for your audience.
Okay, I mean, some people might think it's Z. So.
Right. Only those who own Kids Bop. No, text KIDS to the number 785-833. 785-833. Guys, here's the deal. There are patients right now, little patients at Rady here in San Diego that are being kept alive, whose parents have hope for them, on protocol that was invented and discovered at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. It's a very small hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's a massive research facility surrounding it. And every day of every week of every year, they are in there, the lights are always on, working on these protocols. And when they discover these protocols, what were death sentences in 1960 before the hospital opened, we're talking, you're going to die. Take your child home. He's going to die. Now over 90%, maybe even higher survival rates. It's directly because of people becoming partners in hope. And that's why we call you partners in hope, because you are giving parents hope when that's all that's keeping them going sometimes. I thank God. I never have to imagine what that feels like. I hope, but if you ever do, consider becoming a partner in hope, an insurance policy that you never hopefully have to cash in. But if you do, thank God it's there. Patients at Rady right now, cancer patients, on protocols invented by St. Jude. When they invent this, they don't sell it. They don't bring it to the highest pharmaceutical bidder. They share it freely around the world.
Love that.
Right here in San Diego, patients, including our boss's son, Michael's son. Did you guys know Michael's son's a St. Jude patient?
I did know that.
He's alive because of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Yeah.
If you do anything today, you want to feel good about yourself, you want to feel good about maybe not being in the Christmas spirit, and you need something to get you there, I promise you this is going to make you feel better, okay? The most astounding thing about St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is they never ask for a penny from you. And that's not just for your patient. That's for the families. That's for the brothers and sisters. It's every aspect: travel, lodging, food. You try to get an aspirin in the emergency room in the hospital and see what they bill you for that. Okay,
Yeah, no joke.
My daughter Julia was a baby. When she was a baby, she was born with a complete cleft lip and palate. She had a hole in her face where her nose and half of her mouth was. And I'm not comparing this to anything that these children who are battling for their lives went through. I'm bringing it up because she had to go through many facial cranial plastic surgeries her life as her face grew. The last 2 of them, our insurance company decided were elective surgeries and didn't cover anything. I got a bill for a very steep 6-figure bill. It destroyed me almost. It pretty much wrecked my marriage. I had to get financial help. I had to seek legal representation, and I almost was ruined. And I didn't have to go through anything these parents are going through. So imagine their relief when they're told, hey, you take care of your baby. We got everything covered for you. And that means everything. And that's where you come in. Guys, thank you for the time again.
Of course.
Text KIDS, KIDS, to 785-833. That's KIDS to 785-833. You will get a great This Shirt Saves Lives t-shirt, which you're going to love to wear. I'm wearing it now. It rocks. And you're also going to get a Music Gives sweatshirt. And when people ask you, why does this t-shirt save lives, tell them. And you might be surprised if someone comes up to you and thanks you. Your son is alive. My child's alive because you are wearing that shirt right now. It's happened to me several times. And it's a magical feeling. And it's a perfect Christmas gift, by the way, for someone who's really hard to shop, where you got that crusty uncle who doesn't like anything you do.
Yes.
Say, hey, man, I just made you a partner in hope. Merry Christmas.
One more time with the text and the
Text KIDS, KIDS, to 785-833. Real simple, KSON.com. Guys, thank you.
Great job, John.
I love you both.
John.
Sammy?
Thank you.
Skraby?
All right. Thanks to everybody who's been listening today. Sammy and Skraby out. Hopefully Chris is back tomorrow. Lions and Packers coming up here on 97.3 The Fan.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.